Hi there. I wanted to show you something cool I did in a recent remix. Basically what I did is I used Ableton's stock guitar to make a professional sounding guitar. And normally when people say in order to get that kind of sound you need to buy these expensive Kontakt libraries or something like that. But you really don't. So let me show you what I did. Here we have the remix I did up now, and you can see I have Ableton's stock guitar open instrument. You can find that just by searching it in the instruments. But before we do anything first, let's actually hear how it sounds in the song. Oops. So, sounds pretty good, right? And I played a little bit of it, so let's listen to it by itself, just so we have a good reference for our ears. So there you have it. Let me show you step by step how you can achieve something like this. So, real quick, I just want to mention one key thing to make your guitar sound more organic is your note velocities, and you can adjust that down here. But that's a tedious process, but we're not going to cover that. We're just going to talk about the actual audio processing portions of that. So here's all of the processing I used, but let's turn all this off and actually listen to what the guitar sounds like raw. So here's what the guitar sounds like with no processing, just the Ableton open guitar. So it still sounds nice, and we're lucky that Ableton gives us such a nice sounding guitar right out of the box. But one thing I noticed right off the bat is that there was a lot of low end in the guitar that I didn't want, especially for something that's supposed to be the lead. It's supposed to be up front, and I had other things going on in my low end that I didn't need, or that I wanted to be heard more cleanly. So let's look at the spectrum so you can see what I'm talking about. So this might not look like much, but we don't need this. So all I did is I turned on a high pass filter, and that's what we get. The next thing is I wanted there to be a little bit more brightness. So this is just Ableton's stock enhance preset on the overdrive plugin, and you can just go search just search enhance, and it's right there under overdrive. Just pull that in, and let's listen how it affects the sound. This is with it on. So you can see it changes the timbre a little bit. And this is just giving you some extra saturation in the high end of the frequency spectrum. Next is, I wanted some kind of tube saturation to make it sound more like it's being played through an amplifier. So this is a free plugin, Camel Crusher. You can find it somewhere online, but the company that makes it, I don't think they're around anymore. All I did was just put on the British Clean preset, which is a great preset. And let's hear how this affects the sound. This is with it off. So you can hear now it's really bringing that guitar out. guitar to life now. This next step, I would say, is optional. It's a very subtle effect, but for me, I felt like it really gave the guitars more space. This is Microshift by Soundtoys, and I use the Air preset, and it gives the guitar like a little more body. Let's hear how it sounds on the guitar. We'll start with it on. The effect is so subtle that you could probably go without this step. The next step is adding some extra compression. This is really where the guitar comes to life here. This is essentially just Ableton stock OTT preset, and if you're under audio effects and you just search for OTT, it's right there under multiband dynamics. So let's hear how the OTT affects the guitar sound. So it's really coming to life now. Let's listen to it one more time with it off first and then putting it on. So it's really bringing out the highs and giving everything a nice hug of compression. So next, this really brings out the guitar sound overall. So right now the guitar sounds pretty dry, but I wanted to give it some kind of space that the guitar is actually being played in. So using Valhalla Room, we had used the sizzle plate preset with a couple of adjustments, and let's listen to how adding reverb to this makes the sound change. We'll start with it off, or we'll start with it on. With it off now. Now it's on. So you can really hear it brings it up in the mix and makes it sound much bigger. So one thing you gotta watch out for with using OTT compression is you're compressing your low bands here, so it's gonna add some low end information. So if we look at the frequency spectrum as this plays, you'll see what I mean. You see all this down here. Now if you have like other instruments that are occupying this space, you really want to cut this out so you're not getting any mud or frequency buildup. So a very simple EQ, just quality checking your sound. So a couple of last steps. One thing to really bring up, since this is a lead sound, I wanted to bring it up in the mix and make it sound closer to the listener. And one great plugin for that is Oxford Inflator. Nothing crazy going on here, just the effect at 51.1%. And let's listen to how this brings up the guitar. We'll start with it off and then go with it on. Now we're gonna turn it on. We'll turn it off again. Now it's on. So you can really feel it coming closer to the speakers. A pretty big quality when it comes to leads. Now the last step is a limiter, but there's not actually any limiting going on here, and I'll show you. All it's really doing is just turning the volume up. Turning the volume up 3 decibels. So let's hear how let's hear how the fab filter turns up the volume. We'll start with it off. And now we'll turn it on. So there's nothing fancy about using Pro L to turn the volume up. You could simply just use a utility plugin and turn the volume up 3 decibels. You'd get the same effect. So don't worry about getting that one. But yeah, this is the entire chain. This is to make the guitar, like a stock guitar, sound something that's actually pretty cool. Let's listen to it one more time in the mix as a whole. And we'll turn the whole chain on and off so you can hear how it affects its presence in the mix. So we'll start with it off, and then I'll turn the entire processing chain on. And I'll turn it on. And there you have it. Using a stock Ableton guitar in your DAW to make something that actually sounds pretty good and professional. So if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll be sure to answer anything you have. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about this stuff or have anything else you want to learn about, let me know. Otherwise, have a good one.